Welcome. We're Table Goth, a group of tabletop gaming enthusiasts, gothic aficionados, and mostly special guests, as we are here today to play our exciting finale of Polite Club, our Jane Austen RPG Good Society game. In this game, we're going to be starting things off a little differently. Actually, before I go into that, let's introduce people, because I don't know what I'm doing anymore, but that's okay. So yes, we're joined by special guests. Let's meet those special guests and then jump right into this because we got a lot of scandals to do. Shane, if you'd like to begin.
Hello, my name is Shane Easton, and I am playing Lavinia Sherwood as well as Lord Benjamin Webb.
Excellent. Raquel?
Hi, I'm Raquel Skellington. I'm playing Penelope Whitmore and the stuffy uncle, Earl Edwin Medlock.
Lots of names, lots of titles. Lisa?
I am Lisa Penrose, and I am playing the rumor-ridden Penny Foxglove, and also your favorite frenemy, Amelia Griffith.
And then finally, Miss Petty Dreadful.
Hi, I'm Miss Petty Dreadful. I'm playing Lady Sybil Medlock, as well as Professor Luther Nelson.
I'm Bully. I'm the facilitator, and this is our game, Polite Club. So, jumping right in, we're going to kick things off actually with going back into some rumor and scandal phases. Last episode, we ended with a rather heated discussion over some mix-up of clothes, mix-up of suitors. All sorts of things are happening right now. But the dinner gong rang, and our group was ushered in for dinner. The seating's prearranged. So the ladies and their chaperones are given time while seated in their groups to discuss some of the things that's happened today, which has been a lot, and sort of build excitement over the ball that's to be held the following evening, where we'll finally meet the mysterious Lord Thornseburg. It's quite cliquish. No one knows exactly who to trust, and especially with the rumors going on that there's spies for Lord Thornseburg among the suitable ladies. So during this time, let's get right into it. What rumors are being spread, and how has reputation been changed? Which, actually, what's the order we have to do this? One sec. Okay, yeah, rumor and scandal. So we're going to go around, whoever wants to start, and sort of like we did before, we'll kind of go around and then back again, where you can either take turns to create or spread a rumor. But first, we'll clean up some of the rumors that were going around last time. So the ones that were not spread will disappear in the sense that they're not quite as prevalent, but they can always be brought back. And that is that Penelope Whitmore has been privately speaking with Lord Webb was going around, but it's had its time a little bit. Lavinia's 30, terrible rumor that also was spread, started to go by the wayside a bit, as well as that strange smell might actually be the result of a certain foreign perfume. Lavinia looks young because of this miraculous syrup. And then the coins that were given to let people stay might not be the mark of flattery as once assumed. Those rumors that were sort of bubbling have now passed a little bit, unless anyone wishes to bring them back. The rumors that were spread that will now be a little less prevalent are going to be that Earl Medlock does not show courtesy to the ladies. Dr. Foxglove's fire newt salad syrup actually works. That's
It
still a rumor.
does.
All your aliens
Um,
gone.
Pearl Medlock is losing his marbles. That's still going around. And that some of the ladies are there as spies and not interested in actually getting married. So those 4 rumors are what are on the table. So if anyone has an idea, you can start one, spread one. Who'd like to begin?
I have a rumor.
Okay.
I heard a rumor is going around about my fair cousin, Miss Foxglove, that she is in possession of a love potion that works, and she's looking to sell it.
Oh my gosh. Love it.
The shade of it all.
So as everyone's around dinner discussing some things they've heard, one whisper that's going around is that Penny Foxglove is in possession of a love potion and is willing to part with it. Excellent. Who wants to go next?
I do.
Okay. Raquel, what you got?
I heard a rumor that the French twins were thieves.
Ooh.
I wonder who started that rumor.
I have no idea.
Okay. So both of them are included in this? The French twins. Otherwise known as Lord and Lady Weatherford, are in fact thieves. Oops. Perfect. Who's next?
I would like to spread a rumor that Everett Yarrow and Sybil Medlock are in a secret relationship.
Oh no.
Wounded.
Perfect. Lord Everett Yarrow and Lady Sybil Medlock are in a secret relationship. They have had some strange moments together.
Yep.
Pieces are starting to fit. And finally, 2 rumors from you, or a rumor, or 2 things you'd like to spread, whatever you want to do.
I want to spread a rumor that, what is her name? The widow, my notes aren't loading.
The Dowager?
The Dowager, yeah.
Yes, the Dowager Lady Eleanor Quimby.
Knows something about Ms. Whitmore and Miss Sherwood that she keeps hinting at. I'm guessing that's a rumor that could get picked up.
Okay. So that's one rumor that's going on. Is the Dowager seems to be mentioning something about Miss Whitmore and Miss Sherwood.
And then I'm going to spread the love potion one.
That is as good as facts right now.
It's the most fun.
That's amazing. Okay, so that rumor is seen as fact by many people involved. All right, then going back to Lisa.
I would like to spread the rumor that my fire newt salad syrup actually works. Keep that going.
Yes, of
We've
course.
gone full
We're going
180
strong.
on Penny Foxglove.
I love it. Raquel.
Oh man, I wanted to spread that love potion rumor. Okay, I'm gonna spread a rumor that Penny does have a love potion and she's gonna use it on the Lord.
Okay.
Conflicting rumors.
Well, we don't know. Maybe one of them could be true.
So it's more widely accepted that she has this and is willing to get rid of it, but there's also some people think she's intends to use it for herself. Because how else would Lord Thornseburg choose Penny Foxglove? And then finally, Shane.
Is that subtle slap? Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say he would choose her because she's great.
Hey, these rumors are vicious. They're not nice.
Okay. Oh, wow. Rumor. Last rumor. Start one or spread one. I have so much power in this moment. Let me see. I think I want to actually just reiterate that Earl Medlock is indeed losing his marbles.
Somebody had to say it.
Has been said.
He keeps the marbles in the jowls, and the more he shakes, they just...
Spilling out. Okay.
We got some good rumors.
I know, this is spicy.
Here's the thing I've been looking for. Okay. We're doing this a little out of order, as I thought I did, but that's okay. We make up our own rules. That's a rumor that's going around, is that this facilitator does what he wants.
We play fast and loose.
So, the rumors that are spread around dinner are Earl Medlock does not show courtesy to ladies. This is a subtle rumor. More stronger rumor is that he's losing his marbles. And an even stronger rumor still that just won't go away is that this Dr. Foxglove's Fire and Newt salad syrup actually works. We get rid of that one for now. I'll add one in a second. And more about Miss Foxglove. Seems to have a lot of rumors about her, that she plans on that she's in possession of a love potion and willing to part with it. There's a little conflicting, not quite as widespread rumor that she plans on using it on Lord Thornseburg. We also have rumors that the French twins are in fact thieves. The Lord Everett Yarrow and Lady Sybil Medlock are in a secret relationship. That the Dowager, Lady Eleanor Quimby, knows something about Miss Whitmore and Miss Sherwood. While these are being spread, another rumor takes hold, quite a strong one, as it seems everyone else was out and about that one trustworthy, eligible lady took this time to do a little bit of snooping and discovered some interesting things. Apparently, she got a glimpse of Lord Thornseburg himself from the part of the wing that you were not allowed to go into.
Ooh.
And it seems some of the expectations are very true. He seems to be quite handsome, and some of the treasures and decorations were quite lavish, speaking to wealth that would make many of the peerage families envious. So there's also one a little more disturbing, though, and that is that he was heard berating some of his servants. It seems that he has quite an ill temperament. And part of the discussion that was overheard is that he plans on whoever he does choose to propose to. He's not a big fan of society as a whole. He sort of seems to be looking for someone sort of cruel and cunning to help make a splash in society. But from his island, he doesn't seem, as you know, no one's really met him. So it seems that while you would have peerage and be quite wealthy, probably wouldn't be able to really be in society that much, as he seems to be quite an ill-tempered recluse. So, while some people think a powerful, rich, handsome husband seems well and all, being trapped on an island with one, such an unpleasant temperament, is not an existence most compassionate individuals would desire. So when this latest rumor goes around, I believe a pact might be made between some of our characters and some others. That it might be best to get Lord Thornseburg to propose to one of the other ladies without ruining one's own reputation. As some of the rumors says, he's quite, he enjoys stirring things up and tearing people down, and you don't want to necessarily be a victim of that here, because whatever happens on this island will likely carry back to your regular life. It may be difficult to show kindness to certain eligible women here, but may be your best weapon to make sure a creature like Lord Thornseburg ends up with an equally unpleasant match. So quietly, a club is formed, a polite club. They will not talk about polite club, but they will say kind things about others, so someone else is proposed to, and your reputations remain intact. And with this, everyone is sent. This all happens over the course of dinner. And there is something extra served with dessert to some people. Another small dish containing a gold coin, which all of our main characters, of course, receive one for a variety of reasons. But not many beyond that. There doesn't seem to be a lot of people who made the cut this time. Lady Lena Weatherford, the French twin, is still around. Of course, Lady Martha Yarrow. And Lord Webb's sister is still around as well. But there's less than 10 left in the running of this. Those who didn't receive a coin will spend the evening packing to depart in the morning, while the remainders can spend the night getting ready for the ball that will happen tomorrow evening. Though it seems whoever was doing the snooping wasn't exactly discreet about it. There's a new rule in place that instead of tomorrow during the day you'll be allowed to explore as you please, there'll be a chaperoned event, a tour of a private zoo. But that will be sort of a little more mandatory. People won't be allowed to come and go as they please around the property as you were today. So, with all this happening, everyone returning to their rooms. This is where
Could I use a resolve token here?
Sure.
Possibly. I would like for when Penny Foxglove returns to her room, find that it has been broken into.
Oh no.
And rifled through.
Okay. I accept
Somebody
this.
heard about that love potion.
Okay.
Also spend a resolve token?
Do what?
Can I also spend a resolve token?
Please do.
I want Penny to monologue when she gets into the room and sees everything happen.
All right. Yeah. So that's just a monologue token then. So I have passed resolve token from Lavinia to Penny, and then
Everyone's
you
attacking me.
return to your room. The door opens a little too easily, as it seemed like it was not shut all the way. Something's amiss, and sure enough, whoever had been rifling through your things did not even bother to really clean up after themselves. What's going through your head at this moment?
Well, first I would check if anything in particular is missing.
Not all of your samples of the syrup are there. And there weren't that many left. Lord Everett really took a taking to some of them. And you released some so the staff could use it to help the Earl who's not feeling well. But nothing too obvious other than is missing. It seems things were mostly just rifled through.
All right. I push open the door and seeing that it's slightly ajar and see my room just a mess. What could have possibly happened here in Thornseburg's estate in such esteemed company? I act a bit of a fool, but I know what people say about me. But how can they do that when they would act like this? Sometimes I wonder if my family didn't need it, if I didn't need to fix our reputation, is it worth it? Is this society worth it? But I need to stay for her. I just hope they didn't find the tokens in my case while they were searching through my things, and I start like rifling through my suitcase and like throwing things around. And there's just a little painted portrait of two little girls. And I just kind of clutch it to me, sitting there in the midst of all of this mess.
Okay. While that is happening, well, I'll move on to the next thing, and then we'll circle back up to reputation before hitting our novel phase. The epistolary phase. Letters can be written and exchanged as everyone returns to their rooms for the evening. So, does anyone have an idea of what they would be writing about? Sure, Raquel.
So I think that Penelope, once she's calmed down from her rage, and feeling this newfound confidence, probably will send a letter to Lord Benjamin Webb. Politely but firmly writing that she would like if he left her alone and did not sully her reputation by trying to meet her in inappropriate ways.
Okay. Succinct to the point. Strong message. It's a sent given to a servant to be delivered to Lord Benjamin Webb. Excellent. Anyone else?
I have two that I'd like to send.
Sure.
The first is just a dutiful niece's note to her uncle saying that she wishes him well in his time recovering, that she has been expected to remain on the island until the ball tomorrow, but with all due respect and given his conduct in almost getting them kicked off the island, perhaps a lower profile for the rest of the weekend might do better to ensure her chances at marriage. And she hopes that he begins feeling well soon.
Of course.
I don't know if he has it in his jowls.
What is the second letter?
The second letter is to Ms. Foxglove, addressed as such. Firstly, thanking Penny for, I think actually Sybil would, I think, still refer to her as Miss Foxglove, not first name quite yet. Thanking her for the providing the syrup for her uncle, apologizing that their conversation got cut short, and maybe taking a chance and thanking her for the token left outside her room. Because I think Sybil would, with the handwriting from the note and some of the other pieces from last time. She's not 100% sure, but
Shooting her shot.
she's going to shoot that shot.
Thanking her for the seashell that was left. Okay. Anyone else?
Okay. I sit down with my quill or what have you. And, dear Papa, I am doing my best out here, and it is going well. I think you would be very proud of me, although the competition is fierce. The other ladies are so beautiful, yet kind and friendly. No matter how hard I try, I do think it would be wise of you to keep track if there are any recent widowers in our hometown. I do not know if I will be returning home or staying here to be made an honest woman on this island. Yours truly, Lavinia.
Penny is not writing a letter, although she is using her pen and calligraphy tools. She, in a bit of a rage for her, grabs the rest of her samples, and you see her at her desk carefully peeling the labels off and replacing them with little papers that say like love potion and like little hearts and stuff on them.
Oh, well played. Good show.
Excellent. Most excellent. Okay. With that, stepping back before moving forward, sorry if you know this game, this is driving you insane. Let's do some reputation phase. So, using your backgrounds and whatnot, is there any positive or negative reputation tags you believe you would have earned during the day's events? Just as a refresher, what we have now is Penelope has 2 positive tags. She's sensible and charismatic. Some things have happened that may or may not affect. Charismatic, definitely. Penny, a positive tag she has right now is she's novel, which is a good thing. But the other side of that coin is she's an outsider. It's becoming more and more apparent. Miss Lavinia Sherwood has a couple of positive tags that she's a good friend and dependable. I believe her negative tag was used against her, so that's not there anymore. And then Lady Sybil Medlock only has a negative tag, which is she has unfortunate connections. So-
Lady Sybil did try to defend me to her uncle. And so I think that is deserving of a positive tag. I don't exactly know what, though. But
Absolutely. Figure it out.
she's awesome chick. The awesome chick tag.
Like, good bro.
Good bro.
Yeah, you can use tags are here. I mean, we can absolutely make up tags.
Total dude pie.
The tags that it suggests for my background were influential, wise, famous, or giving. I could say giving, or we could just do like friend, like a good friend is one we have for
Good
you.
friend Lavinia has. You can also be a good
We're
friend.
just good friends.
We're just good friends.
Just gals being pals.
I agree. And do I have everyone's background? I know we have 2. Your old, your peerage.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, good friend is a tag you've earned standing up to your uncle. So we gain positive act in service of duty or morality in a way that compromise your desires. Yeah, I think that stands. Act in obedience to society's conventions. Maybe not so much. Made a sacrifice denied yourself. Yeah, I think those are, you definitely hit 2 of those to get yourself a positive one. Get a negative if you acted in contravention of society's conventions. Act in desire in a way that compromised duty morality. Rejected a heartful request for help. A little bit of the one, but you already sort of have a negative tag for that. So
Yeah, I was trying to think because the incident in the maze with the alcohol bottle. I was like, we could definitely find a negative tag for that one too. But unfortunate connections is kind of the way I was going. I forgot that one was on there.
Okay. Who else? What else ideas for their?
I have 2 thoughts for Penny. The first is, while I don't think I've secured like a personal invitation from someone in higher social status than myself, I do think I'm being generally accepted more because everyone's really into my fire newt salad syrup.
They are. They really
so out of these positive tags, I would maybe take industrious.
I think that's very fitting.
Okay. However, I did also hide broken shards of smelly glass all over this manor, which I feel like is in contravention to society's conventions. So I would accept the negative tag slightly smelly.
I love both of those. Yes.
Mild odor.
Yeah, mild odor.
So how do you spell that?
Oh, I've got it in front of me.
Industrious.
It has too many vowels.
All right. So which fits well with what she was doing before bed. Industrious, slightly smelly. Raquel.
So I think due to the massive blow up that happened, I think Penelope probably lost her charismatic tag.
Perhaps. I mean, you did it in a very charismatic way. Charismatic, I think, could
You think so? Because I
sensible.
found it more like I tucked it under like more sensible because she did keep her calm, but she was kind of curt.
Okay, we could say that. Well, you have a tag won't necessarily go away. Like you keep it until someone you use tags like resolve tokens. So instead of you doing something bad, taking away a positive, it would earn you a negative.
So maybe like I don't know if tasteless is the right one. What's a good word?
I just say she like has a bit of a temper that maybe we
Yeah,
didn't realize.
like ill-tempered.
Yeah.
Temperament.
Temperamental.
Yeah, temperamental. I think that's a good one. They just pushed her to the edge and kept pushing. Stealing her dress and wearing it, my God. I was mad for her.
All right, so that'd be a negative tag. Were there any positive tags you feel you earned?
Let me see, because I'm old. No, I don't really think she. I think she, because like the only thing I could think of is like, she already has sensible and like dependable. Nah, I think she just kind of gained ill temperament, probably in the eyes of society.
That potentially gained an ally, though.
True.
Okay. And then on to Lavinia.
Well, I do believe I was a bit forward with the I don't want to call him the help, but
Mr.
who was the gentleman I talked to who worked there on
The valet,
Mr.
Mr.
Blackburn.
Blackburn.
Yes, is it valet or is it valet? I don't know.
I think
Okay,
valet.
well, valet. That's how they said it on Downton Abbey.
I was going to say, hey, I didn't watch Downton that long. Like, it hasn't been that long. I should remember.
The valet.
Valet.
But I was forward with him, and I just thought I could approach him and talk about anything. And I think that kind of it. I acted in contravention of society's conventions in that regard. So I was. Let's see. I think it was tasteless that I did that. Tasteless and overbearing, maybe.
I think some would agree that was a bit tasteless to be so chummy with.
Yeah,
Valet.
you know.
What would Mr. Carson say?
What would he say? But beyond that, I can't think of anything I did that was positive.
Maybe not, but it was entertaining. That's what matters. Okay. So going into this next novel phase, or next evening, Penelope will have a reputation of sensible, charismatic, but temperamental. Penny Foxglove is novel, industrious, but a slightly smelly outsider. Vinny is still a good friend and dependable, but a bit tasteless. Lady Sybil, also a good friend, with some unfortunate connections. And that is what we will take in leading into the next day. Breakfast is served. It's a bit of a dour mood, as many of the people dining will be leaving. So not a lot is said. You do see some of the crew from the ship are dining as well. Well, not with you, except the captain, Ceci Fletcher, who gives a very polite, charming look she exchanges with Lavinia, which does not go unnoticed by Amelia. But the general feel is it seems some of the other eligible women who are staying might not be as in the know about the latest Thornseburg rumor that your group is aware of, as it seems that they're very much in the competitive mindset now, the final stretch of the race for a proposal.
Is
I want to spend a resolve token.
Mm-hmm.
I would like for Lord Benjamin Webb to be sitting across from Miss Whitmore, flirting aggressively with the young lady next to him.
There's that. So yes, Miss Whitmore is the letter's delivered and apparently had its intended result, as he seems to not be paying any attention to you at all, despite his close proximity. Some was called even rude. He seems to be almost ignoring you, but not ignoring Lady Lena Weatherford, now in her own dress, but still enjoying the company of Mr. Webb, Lord Webb.
You look marvelous, Miss Weatherford.
Yes, she's just, oh, you go on and on too much, but please do not stop.
keep going.
May I have your hand?
She looks around, Mr. Webb. It's just so early, but I suppose I do not need both to eat.
And he kisses her hand, and as he kisses it, he flashes a quick look and then back down.
At the same time, not only does Benjamin flash a quick look at Penelope, Lady Weatherford does as well.
Say that Penelope looks completely composed and unbothered.
Sensible, even.
She is enjoying her, what would they serve? Hard-boiled egg, or soft-boiled egg, and drinking her tea very politely, unbothered.
Does Lady or Miss Yarrow, Lady Martha, whatever her name is, does she seem to know, or is she in competitive mode?
She's in competitive mode.
Okay.
She's talking about how she's not surprised how once again she's received a coin, and sort of loudly talking to her brother about it, who's just sort of brother's just sort of in like a daze, doesn't seem to really be paying attention, just sort of picking at his food a little bit, just She's talking with a couple of the other remaining ladies.
Okay.
She does look over and, oh, Lady Sybil, your uncle is feeling better then? I thought you were leaving.
No, they've agreed to let him stay on so long as he commits to recovering. Yeah, it was unfortunate. I'm hoping.
So I suppose he's not in any condition to travel, so that's why you and him have been kept on the island for the time being. That's quite generous of Lord Thornseburg.
Yes, it appears he's very giving on account of my uncle's missteps.
Well, I do hope it's a shame that you'll be missing out on the rest, but I hope you take care of him well.
Oh, no, I have been invited to participate in the rest of the events.
Oh.
Yes, it seems that
well, good for you.
Lord Thornseburg will perhaps be a very giving, gentle husband with the way that he's received me in light of everything else.
We can only hope so.
Mm.
Oh, that is precious, isn't it? And she goes back to talking to some of the others.
And I want to say to whoever my seatmate is, probably a little more naive than Sybil usually comes off, but just to say, loud enough that she could hear it. It is so kind of Lady Martha to engage and keep all her friends around, and I've heard it said that the reason that the Yarrows had so many daughters was they were trying to get up to one as beautiful as Martha. and just pay her that compliment.
Yeah, she hears her name and immediately is looking at you, waiting to fire back, and seems a bit surprised. Well, aren't we cheery this morning? Thank you. I'm flattered.
Oh, yes, of course, Lady Martha. Go back to...
Okay. Yeah, so this is happening. You hear comments from Lady Lena Weatherford, who noticing as Penelope sips her tea and looks at it. And she leans over to Benjamin. You know what, it's making sense now. I mean, there was I understand how she fills out the dress. The tea looks quite heavy. But as things are starting to settle or unsettle, eventually some of these servants come in and announce that you will be being led to Lord Thornseburg's private zoo on the island, post haste. Yeah, does anyone want to, anything you want to do on this way, or will you just be gathered and led towards the next event?
I would like to change my dress for the occasion. And it was very expensive because I don't know how they created this print back in that time, but it's essentially like a tiger print period dress to match the zoo theme. And I was told that this was probably the most expensive dress I could have purchased and therefore must be classy.
Okay, so as everyone gets ready to change for the zoo tour.
I also want to change my dress.
Mm-hmm.
I think, okay, so I'm assuming that our suitcases haven't been switched back yet, or have they?
It's up to you.
I think I can't remember, like, canonically if I
commanded, even I think threatened legal action in a bit of a way. So I would assume that they have been switched back, but
they have been switched back.
If you want something to have happened with that, that is.
I think perhaps in inspiration of her favorite type of nasty looking animal, Penelope maybe in spite would perhaps have a little bit more of a French twist on her look than usual. She has to dress as the most vicious animal she knows.
That is perfect. Okay. Anyone else have statements being made with their attire?
Not a statement, just, you know, a nice walking
sure.
dress. A nice walking dress, but I would want to, it seems like everyone else has some very elaborate things that are taking up a lot of time this morning, so while waiting, I would go check in with Lavinia before we start our day.
Okay.
Lavinia takes her time leaving the breakfast area. She's looking for like some bread or crackers that she can kind of take with her to the zoo. She thinks maybe if there's birds there, she could feed the birds or something. She's actually on her way to Sybil's room anyway because she doesn't want to change her dress. She's just going to wear what she has. I've given up already. Not even gonna try.
Okay. Yeah, you two meet in the hall outside the room.
I'd like pull her back into the room because this is a private conversation.
Okay.
Are you still determined to marry him after what we've heard, Lavinia?
No. From what I've heard of him, it seems that Lady Weatherford might be a better match, honestly.
Or Lady Martha was my...
Ooh, that would be good.
Yes. I just wanted to, before I started pushing other people in his path, make sure that I wasn't stepping on your toes.
No toes to be stepped on here. Could you imagine Lavinia Thornseburg? Gross. Sounds like I'd be living in the haunted manor in a cold, lonely, desolate. Well, you understand. And I'm not impressed, really. I'm not impressed by the island. It's a bit much.
Yes, of course, too much money.
Well, no, there can never be too much money. I just mean the whole effectiveness of it all. Plus, I mean, you can't even be around society. My family, for generations, we have been among society. We have socialized and socialized and socialized. You know.
Yes. We're social animals, you and I.
We are social animals. Are you okay?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry about my uncle's conduct. It is, wish I could say surprising, but such has my life been. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm okay. I don't know what I'm going to do or where I'm going to go next. But I know I don't want to stay here.
All right. Well, let us get this day on with, and I'll offer my arm to go walk around the zoo.
Okay. You lock arms. You open your door. Martha's right there.
No.
She looks like she's getting ready to knock in. Oh, I couldn't find my brother. I thought he might be in with you.
No, why would you think? I mean, you're welcome to come in.
Why would I think? Oh, no, I have much to do. Ta-ta. And she continues on her way. And in the hallway, you can hear a bit of an argument happening with Lena Weatherford and the captain, S.C. Fletcher. She demands to know why this uncouth captain has been lingering around her room. When the captain says, well, you see, I've... and Lena keeps reminding her that she received the coin, of course, and she will be staying. And yes, the captain is like, yes, I know. I've just happened to be lingering about. There's been reports of things gone missing, and I'm just doing my due diligence. And the Lena slaps her at that. And she said, me, a thief? I will be talking. Once me and Lord Thornseburg, I hope you enjoy your last sail. And she storms off.
Does she walk by us as she storms off?
She does.
I trip her.
Okay. So, as this is happening, sure enough, she's in a huff, not paying attention, walking quite quickly, in insensible shoes, and your foot finds her way, and she goes for a tumble. It's hard.
I'm screaming.
And yeah, she screeches out. You see, even the captain's a bit shocked at this and goes from a smirk, which he quickly puts away, exchanging a look with you, Lavinia. And with the noise, other people are coming out to the hall. And Amelia steps out right in time to see this weird little look between the captain and Lavinia right as she steps out to see what this commotion is.
I turn to her and I go, oh, how embarrassing. Are you okay? What? You really should watch where you're going.
Does Lavinia know French?
Un petit peu.
She gets a petit peu of the string of French venom that is exchanged.
When they say pardon my French, this is what they mean.
Yes. With this. And you just hear, oh! And the dowager, who apparently knows what is said, what is going on out here?
It appears poor
Yes.
Lady Weatherhead has taken a fall, and I go to help her up very politely, as if
She
this was an
was
accident.
waiting for someone to help her up.
Yeah, as if it is an accident, I go to help her
Yeah,
up.
she accepts your hand, gets up, dusts herself off a little bit.
As she helps her, I go, oh, be careful, Sybil. You don't know what state she's in.
She's about to say something, and then the dowager just places a hand on her and says, "Let's all just calm ourselves, shall we?"
I agree.
And then you see her lean into Lady Weatherford, and the
Wait.
Dowager goes, "She
I do
comes
a
from
roll?
different stock," and just sort of pats her. And go ahead.
Okay. Actually, how many monologue tokens do we get?
I think just
You have
one.
We spent one.
Yeah, I think you each have one to use.
Wait, but what was your? Who did you want to
I
monologue?
wanted to hear the French twin. I wanted to hear her monologue.
Can we make NPCs monologue?
Sure, why not?
I just want to hear you speak with your French accent for
I'll
30 hours.
I'll spend my monologue token to do that.
You have a bonus one too.
Yes. Thank you for the good cause.
Yeah.
Okay. So she gets up. We hear when she rounds a corner, her brother sort of rushes up. Is everything okay? And she just sort of dismisses him when she sort of looks back and just watches her go. And she continues in French that I don't know good enough to monologue in French. So we hear her say, "These pests, they're here. I'm doing a favor to everyone. My presence here has surely been a blessing. But they want to play this game. They want to play in polite. Two can play in polite. And make sure, once Leonard finds the potion that I sent him to retrieve, I think I might find of course, I don't need it. And it seems like everyone I meet is already under the effects of one, but perhaps Lavinia. Who could we have Lavinia fall in love with? That would be most interesting." To think. And as she passes, she glances over, and as one of the servants goes to open the door for her, she pauses, thinks for a moment. Miss Shorewood falling for a valet. Now this would be interesting. She continues
Sweet Mr. Blackburn.
as she makes her way outside to gather with the others.
Honestly, a worse villain than Thanos. Down to their core.
As this is happening, I think we might take a moment for as things are calming down, for maybe Amelia to interject a bit, as it seems not overly obvious, but you know Lavinia. She's very good at tripping people. She's done it before. But she has to be in a pretty bad spot to do it. It's not. She doesn't make common practice out of it. But a lot of weird things are going on right now, and it's gotten to the point. And Lavinia really has just been. Seems every time you see her, something bad is happening, and she's around Lady Sybil.
Amelia, as Lena leaves with her like string of French expletives, Amelia is going to approach Lavinia and Lady Sybil and just be like, "Oh, quelle surprise! Who knew that Lady Weatherford was such a klutz?" and just kind of wink at Lavinia.
Oh, yes. Well, being French and all, she gives off this kind of air of class and sophistication, but that's just the accent.
Oh, I'm sure. I've never seen you quite so competitive, but you must have heard the news about Lord Thornseburg. I've heard he's terribly handsome.
Really? He's terribly handsome. Well, what luck we have.
Can you just imagine the parties that we will throw on this marvelous island? I can understand why you'd up your game.
Yes, my darling. Did you not also hear a rumor that perhaps he is not the most sociable lord?
No, I hadn't heard that. How terribly terrible.
Yes, well, it is just a rumor. And I do know you well enough to know that the effect you have on others is strong. If
True.
you need to turn a pumpkin into a carriage, who else could do it but you?
That is true, and goodness, but that is troublesome too, that rumor. I wonder if this is perhaps not like the catch.
I would lean in conspiratorially and just say, with all the competition, any ill word against Lord Thornseburg just reads to me as if perhaps someone's trying to thin out the competition.
Lavinia, you tricky minx.
I'm sorry, my dear friend. I was just, but that is what I heard too, and perhaps someone was trying to trick me. It has been unanimously found or said that he is very fetching to the eye. So we have that to look forward to.
And I've heard that the wing of the manor that they've been keeping us out of is very lavish. Why have all of that if not to show it off?
Oh, very true. Perhaps he's saving that for his betrothed.
Well, my dears, I think that I need to change into something much more impressive from this year's catalog, I say, just kind of like looking Lavinia up and down. And then Amelia's just going to sort of waltz off. See you at the zoo.
Ta-ta!
I would trip her as well.
Okay. If there's nothing else, we will make our way to the zoo. Which, the other end of the island, a bit of a walk, but most have dressed for the occasion. Some have dressed Penny turning quite a few eyes in her very unique outfit. Stands out in this crowd. Penelope, your choice not going unnoticed as you see Leonard sort of give a sly smirk as he compliments the choice of details.
She just nods politely. Thank you.
But eventually, the whole group is met in this small, quaint little private zoo. And you're met with Mr. Green, who seems to be a bit on the younger side, but introduces himself as the zookeeper. And he goes, all right, well, if you'll just follow me, I'll take you to, we've got a lot of really interesting things to see here. I think everyone will be really excited. Just keep fingers in the outside to yourselves, not in the cages, and everything will be all right. And then you just hear, as he's sort of nervously, you can tell he's not too used to being around a lot of people. And he sort of goes and begins his tour, talking about how his mother and father are the ones who started this for Lord Thornseburg. They're away at the moment, but this is his first time showing a tour and showing it to outsiders. But he's very excited to show you what his family's been working on. And you can catch towards sort of the back of the group, the Dowager, making a lot of comments, seems quite curious about the zookeeper, for eventually a question, not to do with the animals, but about yourself, Mr. Green. How old did you say you were? And just looks, he goes, 18, lady. She looks towards Penelope. How long ago was it? I know your father has been involved in he's been to the island before, so I've heard. How long ago was that? It has been some time. I know when you were first setting up the zoo and whatnot, I guess. Strange timing. And She sort of glances at both of you. I love what the island wind seems to have a similar effect on each of your your grooming. And she continues sort of talking to some of the others. And says, "Now, if you pay attention, it's the nose, you see." And she points to Mr. Green, points to her, and says, "And so I've heard," and gestures to Lavinia. She says, "I never trust a man who's too well traveled." As she's having a private conversation, but seems to be implying some things. The young Mr. Green is like, "Hey, come right along now to the next exhibit." And then he sort of stops short as you get to a sort of large cage. Looks around. Everyone together. We may have sometimes I like to go for strolls outside of the cages. So everyone just be together. It'll be fine. Everything will be fine.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
what precisely are they that are strolling outside of the cages, if you don't mind me asking?
Not that they a he,
he?
magnificent specimen we got from our last visit to Africa, a lion. He's quite gentle. Everything's fine. Please do stay together, though. That is where we'll take our first break.
What?
Coming back in a little bit to finish exploring the zoo and the lion.
Oh, man.
Okay, bye. We're back at the zoo, lion on the loose, and the dowager connecting some dots, maybe. That apparently there's a bit of a shared parentage between Mr. Sherwood, might be getting around a little bit, even to this island. But yeah, he announced, as Lady Sybil was so astute to question what animal escaped, he'll let you know it was a lion, and that's where we'll pick things back up. The whole group is pretty much together because, again, this was a guided tour. Mr. Green, the zookeeper, seems nervous, but not. He seems almost more worried about the lion than you guys. Keeps saying, "No, he's quite friendly. It's fine. Just have to find him," and isn't quite sure what to do in this situation. Most other people seem a lot less calm about it. And then, you see Lena, the French twin, goes, "I am not staying here if there's a wild animal on the loose." And he goes, "Actually, you'll be better in a group if one of you goes off on your own. That's when something like that." Again, he's friendly, but you don't want to give him the wrong idea. And he gets quiet for a moment, looking at a penny.
What?
Everyone, maybe put her in the middle. I love your dress, personally. It's wonderful. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know how Theodore would feel about it. That's the lion.
Theodore. Oh.
I think we gathered that, Mr. Green.
Okay. I'm gonna panic push myself into the middle of the group.
I'll usher out a spot.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, you usher out a spot. She gets in the middle. Everyone else is huddled. You can spot Lord Webb has made sure he's not on the outside as well. He's conveniently has some of the people around him in case something bad happens. The Dowager's in the middle. As you can see, he's sort of in the middle. You see Lena sort of looking at him and trying to maneuver him on the outside of her, and they're sort of in this polite struggle of who's defending who.
Lord Webb, he takes Lena by the arm and he says, Don't worry, it'll be okay. I have lots of experience with exotic animals. Here, come on, just follow me. But then he's like pushing her, kind of like ahead of him, like using her as a shield.
Yeah, she glances at Penelope and says, "I understand you're familiar with animals, but this is a different sort altogether."
Can I spend a resolve token?
Of course.
I would like to spend a resolve token to have as Webb and Lady Weatherford are like kind of back, and after their side comment, kind of pushing back and forth for Leonard to kind of come in and position himself between Penelope and the two of them, gallantly protecting her from both the animals and the lion.
Sure.
And like a display, if that is acceptable.
I think that would be fitting. For the first time, a little more publicly, Leonard seems to be not at odds with his twin, but making a point to be slightly protective or position himself in a favorable way near Miss Whitmore, and not helping his sister, who seems to be struggling getting protection from Lord Webb.
I think Penelope is going to look at Leonard for a moment, kind of like taken aback, like, "I'm so sorry about the noise outside." I'm so sorry. Philadelphia for you. But I think that she would take a look at Leonard and like pause. She's probably like the hell are you, like, what are you doing? And that's probably what she would whisper to him, is like, what are you doing to Leonard? Like, just softly, not like accusatory, just like, what are you doing? Like, confused.
He'll just sort of under his breath goes, between me and you, I think we both know who has the most experience dealing with wild animals. Gesture, or nodding towards his sister.
Oh, I already spent my monologue token, but I want to know what Penelope is thinking.
Hang on, I'll throw a token.
Yes.
When we spend one, does she get it to give to somebody else? Nope, it's just gone.
You get it back on the next cycle.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, monologue tokens they're so powerful.
Okay, so yeah, what is Penelope thinking in this moment?
Okay, so could you give me a little bit more detailed description of what Leonard looks like, just so that I can go off of this for a second?
Absolutely. Leonard, 21. Always smiling, but in a slightly threatening way. He's a quite strong, athletic build, short, well-kept hair, and a very carefully shaped, sort of whimsical mustache. Despite being sort of having the build of someone more athletic, he very much has sort of the French finesse. He's seems quite comfortable with himself and quite regal and whatnot. Him and his sister both have a... I'm sorry?
But is he blonde?
No, both of them are dark complexioned.
Okay. I think so. Penelope is probably like in her head. First, she's like, "What? Okay. First off, what are these twins' problem? They seem to be at odds with each other, and I honestly don't want to get in the middle of it. I'm really tired of their bullying, and I'm tired of acting like I have to accept it when it's completely out of line. And if anybody were to see truly how they acted, I'm sure that they would be kicked off this island in a heartbeat." But as she looks at Leonard, and as he like stands in front of her, so if we're like going play by play, she probably looks at him and thinks, well, at least he has a nice build. And probably takes a moment to like appreciate his features and like how there is some, I think Penelope thinks to herself that, like, there is something quite charming about a man that's willing to stand up to his vile wretch of a sister and protect you against a literal roaming monster that's going around. And I think she's kind of into standing in front of her a little bit, as much as she wants to push away his affections due to him being, you know, one half of an evil spawn. I think she's like playing down her emotions and that hoping that Leonard being there not only will keep the animal away and honestly, as though she doesn't want to admit it to herself, keep her safe. But also keep a buffer between his terrible sister and Benjamin, which she just is so sick of.
Excellent.
Lots of thoughts.
As this is happening, Lady Sybil, you feel sort of a tug on your sleeve and then a hand clasp your hand. You glance over and you see Lord Everett Yarrow, Martha's brother, look at you and look down at each of your hands. He seems almost as confused by it as you are for seconds. You both just sort of exchange a look.
Can I help you, sir?
I was going to ask you the same thing. Are you okay?
Apart from the roaming lion, yes, I'm quite all right. Sticking in the middle here.
Oh, I'm sure that'll be fine. This is all right. And he just looks at your hands again, looks at you.
Sir, you grabbed my hand.
I did no such thing.
I pull my hand away then.
He pulls his hand away. That was quite forward of you, but I won't mention it to anyone. He wipes his hands. And
Yeah, I kind of look, because I've ushered Penny through. I'm assuming she's nearby. You and Lord Yarrow seem to have been...
Lady Yarrow is standing right next to Penny. She's looking at the two of you, and she seems to almost have
Oh, okay.
Penny, your attention was drawn for a moment as you hear Martha go, well, look at that. She looks over, and just in time for you to see those two holding hands.
Between the escaped lion and her dress being an issue, and now they're holding hands, and maybe her dress is like, I don't know, like the corset's like extra tight or something, because that's what she was told was fashionable. Can Penny like faint in the middle of this crowd?
Absolutely. Penny goes down. There's a gasp. People are clear a little bit of the way and all turn. Some fans are out on you. People aren't sure to turn inward to help you or to keep their head on a swivel outward at the moment. Martha's the first to sort of bend down and, oh no, she's poor thing. And she's sort of checking your forehead, and it's this awful dress. And she's sort of patting around. Keen-eyed Sybil can see she seems to be almost looking for something while helping Penny.
I go down and also go to help after this really weird...
Would Penny have kept any of her relabeled medicine on her?
Yes, she actually is making sure to carry at least one of them at all times.
So Sybil, yeah, you would notice that Martha definitely, as you're also helping her up, and she manages to slip a small bottle away of something.
I see this.
And she goes, you have her? She's okay?
Yeah, yes, I have her. I'm just gonna let it slide.
Yep, and yeah, she goes, and to Penelope, you then notice a quick exchange between Martha and Lady Lena Weatherford, the French twin, as they sort of clasp hands. Are you okay as well? Lena says, I think I will be just fine now. She goes, good.
They're an impolite club.
Ugh.
I do think Penelope as well probably would have turned towards Penny and been one of the people to like put on a fan, just to like
Mhm.
make sure the poor girl's getting some air.
Absolutely.
And I think Penelope would go, "Does anybody have any smelling salts?"
And I,
At this point, everybody hears a voice from above them, and it's Lavinia because she climbed up a tree because she figured that if there was a lion, it wasn't going to get her up a tree. And she's sitting on a branch, and she goes, "You can just use some of Penny's, salad stuff, syrup."
I turn toward Lord Yarrow and like reach. Like, do you have some on you?
I mean, it's not a smelling salt. It's very valuable medicine.
It has a scent. If I
No,
could
she'll
just-
be fine. She looks fine. Look at her.
She's
it's mine
just
and you
gonna
can't have
smell it. She's not gonna eat it. She's just let her smell it.
At this point, Lord Yarrow is usually rather just sort of there. It seems a little more alert. He's sort of backing up away from you, holding his pocket. No, it's mine. I was given it to it by Miss Foxglove, and she didn't say anything about her wanting it back. So you can't take it back.
She wouldn't take it. I'm sure she would offer you replacement for any that
You
spilled.
just want it for yourself.
I don't.
You think it's one of her other potions, don't you?
What?
No.
No.
No. I'm sorry. He just keeps backing up away from you guys.
I think Penelope would say, like, Lord Yarrow, I this behavior is quite peculiar. There is a lady in need of help and resuscitation. I think that's much more important at the present.
He'll reach into his jacket. Are you sure she's not going to be just fine?
Regardless if she is or isn't going to be just fine, I think this lady deserves to be woken up.
Takes it out. You can see his hand shaking as he looks at it. I mean, it doesn't even have that strong of a scent. I'm not sure it will help in this situation. I've been using it. No one can smell it on me.
You stink, buddy.
He looks up. There's a few gasps at this. People look up at the tree, and Lavinia is just sort of like this cat in the tree.
A lady has fallen. There's a lion on the loose. Someone help us solve this problem.
Everyone looks up at the tree at Lavinia's comment and then looks back just in time to see this lion come out from nowhere and take Lord Edward Yarrow. The tall but yes, quite slight man is a lion as he's backed up quite a ways from the group to protect his salad syrup. This lion seems to come out of like a bush or you're not even sure where.
Oh my god, he did.
Who's the nearest like gentleman near me?
Um,
I'm not counting Webb as a gentleman at this point.
Probably Mr. Green at this point has come rushing.
Okay.
Leonard immediately steps between the lion and you, Penelope. Mr. Webb probably also
like maybe
making
like
for a tree, maybe.
In fear, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, no, he seems quite resolute and stands his ground and just has a hand out for you. And you out of your peripherals can see his sister now just standing by herself for a moment, looking back and forth furiously. Only Martha there as both of them sort of grab at each other to try to do whatever. Yes.
I would just get Mr. Green. Help me get her up as best we can and start to. I'm not very strong to try to pull Penny.
He goes, but Theodore.
Fine, get the whatever. And I just struggle to try to lift this woman up by myself. Try to wake her up, like fan her.
As you do that, Mr. Green waits for a moment, be like, he's a goner anyway. And yeah, he goes and helps you lift Penny. And he just, everyone, away, into the cage. And he starts getting people into the cage to protect themselves from the lion outside of the cage.
Oh my god.
Things have escalated very quickly.
Yes.
It's like a torture.
It's just like a siren blaring in my head.
Is everyone filing in? Is Lavinia staying in the tree or is she making for the cage?
I would gesture for Lavinia to get down.
I jump from the branch. and I head towards the cage. I'm sure everyone could see my underwear when I did that.
She leaps down.
Yep.
Yeah, at this point, everyone scrambles in the cage. Sybil and Mr. Green helping pull Penny in. And then he closes the cage behind them as you watch this lion, as it just seems to be almost chewing on poor Mr. Yarrow, who's yelling out. Martha's freaking out, but not daring to get too close. Before the lion sort of gets up and lets out this roar, almost in distress. It's not like this threatening roar, it's an upset roar, a hurt roar maybe. And then you just see it just keep pawing at its face, and it's backing up and just seems disgusted with something. And Lord Yarrow just perfectly still. You see no actual bite marks. His clothes are ripped and the syrup is broken that he had out on himself. That now seems to be bothering the lion quite a bit. As Lord Yarrow's just still, and he then panics, realizing that the syrup's broken, getting little bits on his fingers and putting them in his mouth. As the smell wafts, the lion quickly takes its leave, and Lord Yarrow sort of sits up. And he just looks at you, Sybil, satisfied.
No, but...
Neither am I. Get her up. She has to have more, I'm sure. And he just dusts himself off like he wasn't just attacked by a lion. And Mr. Green's just looking. I'm going to go track him down. The rest of you just be safe. Yes, and now.
Should we leave?
Mr. Green takes his leave, leaving the rest of you. Penny, you slowly fluttering back. And sure enough, as Mr. Yarrow gets close to you to see if you have any more, the smell does kind of wake you up, actually, which you called for in the first place. As your eyes flutter and you see just Sybil now, someone who's taking care of you, sort of has you cradled a little bit on the ground.
Oh.
And then above her, Lord Yarrow just looming.
Lady Sybil, what happened?
You
saved
fainted
me.
and a lion attacked. It was quite the episode
You
you
saved me
missed.
from a lion.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but yes, poor Lord Yarrow here took the brunt. Are you all right, sir?
Yes. Do you have more?
Oh no, my salads are, wait, more what?
Yes. Yeah. The doctor, the fire news salad syrup.
Oh,
It's
been so
actually-
popular. I don't have any more samples. I don't have anything for you, but Lady Sybil, I have something I've been meaning to give you, and I start patting on my dress. And like, I guess my dress is so awesome it has pockets. So I start patting on where my pockets would be, and then I like look really confused, and then I'm just like, oh, never mind. I must be still lightheaded. My mistake. And I look like
Mr. Yarrow goes, you know what this means, don't you?
What do you mean?
That this syrup is not only a cure for any ailment, it is a repellent to predators. Is there anything this can't do?
Luther, is the professor still here?
Yes.
Because he would loudly just say from the back, yes, there is.
You said that, and a couple people turn and look towards Luther.
Luther looks behind
Explain
you.
yourself. Did you not just witness a lion, a creature of the jungle, repelled by the miracle cure that is this fire newt salad syrup?
I won't argue with the efficiency of it repelling off the lion, but the idea that it could do everything is... Never mind. I'm glad you're all right, sir. And he just...
You're calling me a liar. You're calling the foxgloves liars and charlatans. Saying that they are peddling something that does not work as intended?
I am not doing that at this time, sir. And he looks back down, making eye contact with Penny to honor their agreement, realizing he perhaps spoke outside of it, and he still owes her a favor. So goes back.
Penny is not paying attention because she's like turning her pockets inside out and like looking at the ground around her and then like where she was standing before and now looking at everyone in the crowd suspiciously.
You just see Martha behind the fan.
Would pick,
Pockets?
like,
What
you know,
is
go
wrong
up
with
to
my
Penny.
dress?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think Penelope would go up to Penny and like, because Penny I guess is like frantically looking in her pocket, so she probably seems like a little out of sorts and like she just woke up from fainting. So Penelope would probably like get close to her and be like, "Hey, Miss Foxglove, Penny? Are you okay? You seem very out of sorts. What are you looking for?"
I had something really special for someone special and I don't know where it's gone. It may have fallen out of my pocket. But things have been going missing and I don't want to I'm not one to gossip, but I've heard rumors that there are some less honorable among us on the island who have been taking things.
Perhaps we could discuss this in more discreet company, and make sure that you're all right before we.
Martha
Answer
goes,
anything.
more discreet company.
If something's
If the rumors are true that there's a thief among us, I would assume discreet is what they would want to be. What
Yeah.
do you have to discuss that's so secretive, Lady Sybil?
Clearly something has gone missing, but it seems like in a lion's cage surrounded by everyone here is not the place to try to find it.
Why not?
Thank you. I think that's a sensible answer. We're in a moment of panic and worry. I think we have greater things to focus on. Penelope kind of like, guys, like, what are you doing?
We just witnessed a lion attack. I think we should prioritize. If you'd like to have us all turn out our pockets now, we're welcome to.
You're being very aggressive towards Lady Sybil, and I think that's unbecoming of someone of your station.
Well, she used the word discreet. You didn't use the word when things are calmer or at a better location. You intended you wanted to discuss this in a secretive manner. And I've heard rumors too, Miss Foxglove. Rumors of people with, let's just say, unbecoming connections.
I don't know what you're suggesting.
She's
And
looking
I'm just-
at Sybil.
Yeah.
And with this, I'm going to use or offer you a resolve to. Well, I'm gonna use your negative thing here to.
Tensions are rising.
Oh, I'm just like eat like popcorn.
I'm just really glad we didn't watch a lion eat a person.
I was so worried.
I was like, wow, okay, so he dead.
Salad syrup. Nothing of that sorts would happen. Let's see. Yes, she does this. We are going to. I'm going to offer you a token for this to be a moment where your uncle seems to be feeling better and has made his way out.
I have to give the people what they want.
To speak on these unfortunate connections. As Earl, you've been in contact. The very respectable Yarrow family, Martha herself, has probably checked in on you more than your own niece. And she's been very worried about your niece. And
Well,
really
question.
thinks,
Is he outside of the cage?
yes, he would be approaching.
Okay, all right.
You've been told some upsetting things, and that the longer she stays on the island, the more she's likely to get involved with these unfortunate parties. And now you're actually feeling much better, and it's probably time that you can move things along now. It's obvious, and it's almost embarrassing, as Martha's told you, that she's only received the coin so you don't have to worry and you can have time to recover here. The Medlocks don't need pity, especially from whoever this Thornseburg is. So yes, this is happening. And she's, well, yeah, that should be enough information to go off. Sure enough, more frightening than even the lion's roar, we hear the jowls of your uncle come stomping through the door.
What is the meaning of this? Why is everybody in a cage?
Dear uncle, there's a lion on the loose. Please come in. Like,
you would know. You on your way in, Mr. Green seems to have he has the lion situation under control. And he actually asked you, since you're heading that way, to let the others know that it was safe and to probably go back inside. That's what he told me.
Okay. So, the Earl stands probably with like a pocket watch in his hand, looking all stuffy as he normally does. Actually, I was coming over here to tell you all that the situation has been under control, and that you guys, you all can get out of the cage. And he goes, I guess, to like unbolt the bolt on the outside of the cage and let everybody out. And he takes a look at Sybil, and I think he would actually have like a softer look in his eyes, and he would look at her and say, you know, regardless of any of the madness that's been going on, I am glad that you're safe.
Thank you. I'm glad that you seem to be feeling. I'm glad you seem to be feeling better as well.
I heard some commotion as I was walking up to the cage here. What was the meaning of this? Was there an argument going on amongst yourselves, or was somebody injured?
Lady Martha will step in at this point. Your niece seemed to be quite the take charge type and wanted to whisk certain people away for secret communications. Most of us were worried about this, and didn't seem becoming of a Medlock, but not so sure anymore.
And what do you know of what's becoming for Medlocks? I'm quite sure Sybil had her reasons in a moment of great distress to protect her friends and do what's necessary, and that is what being a Medlock is. Taking charge and making sure those around you are safe.
Hell yeah.
She just
Sybil says hell yeah.
looks, and then with this, Lady Lena says, it seems the rumors are true, Lord Medlock. I'm glad you're back to the self we all know. Let's all head inside now, shall we?
Like, what do you mean? I haven't changed at all.
With this sudden turn of
just as crazy
Grace, I think just making sure that Penny is all right, she would walk back in, explaining, you know, something of her friends had gone missing to her uncle, and she just wanted a calmer place to sort it out, and that was interpreted as being nefarious. She's not quite sure why.
I think the uncle, you know, would, I think, you know, uncle would nod and actually seem like he's listening to you, because I think this shows your responsibility and upkeeping and leadership of being a Medlock, and I am proud of how you handled the situation. I don't know why this would be interpreted as nefarious. And he shoots a look at Martha, right?
Mm-hmm.
And goes, as such a young lady as yourself, Lady Yarrow, I would assume that instead of making spreading petty rumors and making extensive accusations in a time of great panic and necessity, that you would focus on yourself and those around you to make sure that you are safe and that you and your family and your chaperone are safe, rather than keeping your nose in my niece's business as she's trying to protect her friends.
I just want to point out to everybody that Dr. Foxglove's Fire Newt salad syrup has done amazing work for the earth.
It's just like all the cocaine and stuff that you guys have been putting in.
So much coke.
With this, the Dowager, Lady Eleanor, would say, with all due respect, Earl, I believe we know how you prefer to communicate with young women. She looks in a protective way towards Martha. Perhaps it's best we let them settle this among themselves.
How about first we get everybody out of this cage and make sure everyone is unharmed? I think before we talk about petty societal drama.
I would just look kind of, just with that comment, look a little apologetically to Martha and just say, we'll sort it out later ourselves. Thank you, Uncle, for rising to my defense. I do appreciate it. And just kind of start walking out and heading towards the house to just...
Yeah, with this, we'll sort of disperse. Everyone's led back into the house. Just for a quick, maybe some drinks to steady the nerves and whatnot, or seem to already be ready for you as you enter one of the drawing rooms. And Mr. Blackburn is there, and if everyone could just please whatever you need to steady yourselves. The ball will go as planned. I'm just glad nobody's hurt. Should have plenty of time to get ready. If you have any questions, feel free. Or anything you need, let me or my staff know. Apologize for the commotion out there, but I think perhaps things can be a little more calm and civil in the manner. Yes?
I think before we all like part ways and like go get ready for dinner or whatever, I think that Penelope honestly and truly goes up to Leonard and thanks him. And so she would go up to Leonard and politely go, I think I would have to admit, Lord Leonard, that I perhaps misjudged your particular character, and I greatly appreciate you putting yourself without hesitation in a moment's notice in front of me. I found that to be very admirable, and truly I appreciate your quick and honorable defense of myself and my person.
I think nothing of it. I believe you have judged my character correctly, but I believe I've been shown other options for my character that I did not realize were available to me before recently. You have given me a lot to think about. Thank you, Miss Whitmore.
I think she puts up her fan and tries to hide like the slight flush that goes across her cheeks, and she politely bows a little bit and goes, I will see you this evening at dinner, and she just walks away. Oh my goodness.
That departure is had. Lavinia, you are handed a drink as his sister, Lady Lena, watches that exchange. It seems these events have everything all topsy-turvy, don't they? The way you flew into that tree, it was ridiculous but impressive.
Well, thank you. Everybody did think it was ridiculous until the lion showed up, didn't they?
They did. And I, feeling a bit stupid, thinking there was a gentleman that would maybe be protecting me, but you relied on yourself. Maybe I should start doing the same. So to ourselves, and she hands you a drink and sort of clinks her glass to yours.
To ourselves. And I drink the whole thing, like, immediately.
Yes, you do. As she is sipping hers and raises a brow and just sort of seems amused by this. It goes down differently. Quite as smooth as it appeared, with a bit of a strange aftertaste. Think about it for a moment, but then you've had worse. And then you see, before you that sort of come and realizing, you see Lady Martha and Lady Lena also clink glasses. They also seem to be drinking to something. So they both don't quite down theirs, but sip it. As people start taking their leaves, if there's anything else anyone would like to do.
Penny would like to approach Professor Nelson.
Okay.
And just say, I know that you were upset with me, but that was no reason to trash my room.
I would never have. We're in a truce. Why would I trash your room? Your room was trashed, you say?
No one, I don't want to cause a stir or anything.
No.
But yeah, my room, someone just threw things around. I don't know what they were looking for. I don't think anything was taken. I just assumed it was you then. I don't know. Uncouth behavior.
No, I'm guilty of some terrible behavior, but I would never break and enter into a lady's room or go through her belongings.
I'm sorry for the accusation then. But speaking of our truce, have you gotten any information about Lord Thornseburg?
Has he? No, I'm afraid not. Just common gossip. And if there's anything I know about you, Miss Foxglove, it'd say you're not one to gossip.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't. But since you don't seem to be having much luck getting information about Lord Thornseburg, that maybe you can do me a slightly different favor instead.
Right.
I'm wondering if you can just make sure that his attentions stay away from Lady Sybil Medlock. I don't know, I don't particularly care how you do it, but I don't think they're a match.
All right. I'll see what I can do then.
All right. A new truce. We are allies. Shake your hand.
For the time, yes. He probably goes to his American friend who's there and would just, I guess, try to gauge her interest in him and maybe try to talk her up or figure out what she seemed like amused by the societal nonsense and get her take on it and see. So maybe they would scheme about it.
Okay. So as he recruits another ally to this scheme, does anything else need to happen as we go off to get ready for the dinner and the masquerade ball and the meeting of Lord Thornseburg?
I think Lady Sybil would just in passing maybe go to say something to Penny, close her mouth, and then just say, if you have anything in blue, I think the color suits you, and then keep walking.
I also raise my tiger stripe fan to hide my blush.
Lavinia approaches Penelope and says, Miss Whitmore, how are you feeling?
I was quite in shock. I think, and she kind of like throws a quick glance to where I guess she saw Leonard like walk off. I think I have a lot to think about, and maybe perhaps reconsider. How are you? How did you climb that tree so fast?
Oh, it's something I picked up when I was a little girl. I used to love climbing the trees on our estate and, the rocks and running around playing by myself, pretend, that sort of thing. I just wanted to assure you that these things, although they always are quite terrible, they're not all this terrible. I know this is your first, and lions and attacks and break-ins and the sheer meanness of all of this. It is not usual. It just never trust a man who keeps cats in cages.
Thank you for the advice. This has been quite the interesting debut. Not necessarily how I expected everything to go. I think, I don't know. A part of me is very frustrated with how things have been going and how I've been feeling, and it's been hard. And I think I admire you and how headstrong and honest you are to how you feel and what you want and what you want to do. And I think that's quite admirable. She kind of beams in your direction. Like she's looking at somebody, she's looking up to you, I guess, in a way.
Well, that's nice of you. However, I am, don't tell anybody this, but if I don't find someone soon, I'm going to be in very big trouble. I do appreciate and love the life I've had up to this point, but my future's looking bleak.
I think that's a pretty alarming thing for Penelope to hear, so she would probably be like, well, I would hope things wouldn't be so dour and extreme per se. I'm sure that there's a solution that you may find. I actually wanted to speak about something to you about a rumor that I heard that we apparently have similar noses. I think this is just a coincidence.
I never really thought about that.
Me either.
Are people saying that we're of relation to one another?
I don't know if it was said so blatantly as such, but I think there are some rumors about your father being on the island and things like that, and I would hate to figure the implications of what people are trying to say or put together. Does that make sense?
Oh, Papa. and she goes, I don't know, those are some heavy accusations. I'm looking around. I want to see if I can see the captain anywhere.
The captain would have left with the boat this morning.
Fudge sickles. Okay. Then I go, we'll speak of this later. And I just angrily storm off to my room going, Papa.
Okay.
Penelope probably just like stands there and blinks a couple of times. I'm like, what did I set off? Like, what did I do? And then she just goes to her room, I guess.
While people are calming down in the rooms, or not calming down, time passes as takes quite a bit of time to get ready for the masquerade ball, your masks, your dresses, and all of that. While getting ready, there is a knock on your door, Lavinia.
Go away.
It's Mr. Blackburn. I was told you were asking for me and that you were feeling peculiar.
What? No, I do not think I was asking for you. And I open my door for you, but, hello.
Open the door and you look at him, and there's a strange feeling. Maybe just a bit of that after something from that weird drink you had earlier, though. But it sparks for a moment, but then passes, and he just looks. Oh, I was told you were asking for me. If it's a mistake, that's fine. I will be on my way.
Well, now that you're here, I am feeling a little strange. uh, could you please help me to my bed?
I don't know if that would be appropriate. I can get a lady's maid to help you post haste. And he looks around, and as you look around, you can see one of the other doors in the hall's cracked. As you could see, Martha just sort of looking through the door, and you notice she closes it and goes back in. I'll send someone to help you right away. I apologize for the interruption. And he makes his leave.
Thank you, Mr. Blackburn. Actually, I shall be fine on my own. Thank you.
All right, Miss Sherwood. And he goes.
I want to go to Foxglove's room.
Okay. Yeah, you go to Foxglove's room, bang on the door.
I kind of crack the door open and, oh goodness, it's you, not Lord Yarrow again. I don't have any more of the salad syrup.
Somebody dosed me with your salad syrup, and I do think I know who it was. And I feel pretty good. This stuff is good.
It works. It cures all of your ailments, all of them.
I didn't even know I had ailments until I took your syrup. I feel amazing, but also a little funny. I believe that Martha put it in my drink, if you can believe that.
Martha, I mean, I don't believe I've sent her any of the vials that I had, and I can't imagine Lord Yarrow would share any of his.
I think she's a thief.
And I kind of think back to all of the many events of the day, and okay, you have to promise not to tell anybody. I do have a few vials of the my father's salad syrup, but I'm saving them for something special, and I haven't been giving them away, and I had one on me today and it went missing. So she must have taken it from my pocket.
She was helping you when you fainted. I remember I was looking down on you, and I could see her over you helping, and I thought, how out of character of her to be so concerned.
While I'm very glad you tried the salad syrup and are feeling good, we should check if you have any allergies to the ingredients. I'm concerned about that weird feeling. I don't like that it was given to you in such a strange, secretive manner. I don't know why she would do that. What do you propose we do about it?
Well, get her back, of course. I'm not quite sure how. Do you have any other tonics that could be useful?
I mean, I do have some experimental vials that my father was working on, but I don't really know what they would do.
If you want to find out, I would be happy to arrange an experiment.
You have always been a risk taker, but you are my cousin. So let's say, and I kind of like open, I go to my bag and I open like some little pouches and stuff, and I just kind of gently drop one of the unlabeled vials on the ground and let it roll across the floor. Let's say I lost one. I don't want to make a fuss about it, but my room was, someone got into my room and scattered my things about. So it's very possible one of these was taken.
I pick it up and I put it in my little satchel that I have, and I say, "Well, I do hope you find everything you need, dear cousin." And I leave.
Okay. With that, let us fast forward to the ball. Taking most of the evening to get ready. Dinner just being served in trays in your rooms. Until the moment of question that evening comes around. So everyone in their outfits are gathered first into this very lavish, grand ballroom. There are drinks, there are small favors on plates, an actual live band there playing. So I don't think that had any option then. Yes, people are gathered, everyone in masks. Some, it's easy to tell who they are. Like Lady Weatherford, her mask is barely a mask at all, not doing much to cover her beautiful features, where others, like poor Benjamin Webb, or Webb's sisters, never really wanted to be there in the first place, has this large, decorative, interesting thing, not really to draw attention, but more to hide behind. What would each of you look like?
Penny is distinctly not wearing a tiger stripe dress to the fancy masquerade ball. She had a whole outfit planned, but it was like red, orange, and magenta, not blue. And Lady Sybil had made that blue comment, or that comment about wearing blue. And she does have one blue dress that she hasn't worn because it didn't come with all sorts of accessories and stuff that matched as a set. It's just a very simple white dress with lots of layers and like delicate blue lace flowers sewn into it. And a bit of this like gauzy fabric as well, which, having established that Penny's a bit crafty, she makes like a makeshift like veil for herself as a matching mask. And it's very simple. And for the first time, Penny actually looks chic and effortless.
Nice. Who else?
I think Lady Sybil is in like a silver, like a dark silver gown. That it's very like classy, kind of shiny, but not anything like gold or bright. So elegant enough, but not anything to stand out. And then she has an intricate, kind of similarly like dark mask with silver accents to match her dress.
Nice. Who else?
I think Penelope probably went like a very elegant, almost borderline ethereal kind of swan look. So she's wearing like a slightly off-white gown that has like a layer of sparkles or shimmer, not glittery, but like if the light catches it the right way, it looks like she's sparkling. And her mask beautifully goes around her eyes in like this kind of shape with feathers going up either side of her white mask. I think this is probably the first time that, even though Penelope is very young, that she looks as studious and like a grand woman.
Very nice. And Lavinia.
Lavinia is wearing a really, really big gown that she got on her travels with her family, maybe from like Italy. It doesn't look as ethereal or pretty. It looks almost like it's black and white with bold black and white stripes, and it almost looks like kind of an Italian Renaissance theater thing. And her mask is like, it looks just like a black bat is on her face with eyes cut out for her eyes.
Excellent. So everyone in their costume for the evening lingers, listens to some of the music, has polite conversation. As you can see, some scheming going on with some of the others. This battle line seemed to be being drawn. People are getting ready for the introduction of the Lord Thornseburg. Eventually, everyone is lined up at the bottom of a staircase leading into the room. You're told that we'll make an introduction to each of you. We'll have a dance with each person, and to use that time wisely, as you see fit. Before breaking off, and then it will be more of a dance with whom you wish. So, lined up, waiting eagerly. Eventually, to much fanfare, is introduced Lord Thornseburg. Comes down, cuts quite a figure as he sends down the steps in this black and gold wolf mask. But a very, I mean, back then there wasn't that much variety in the actual cut of the suits and whatnot, sort of a standard, but you could tell very well tailored and made out of very expensive materials with a little pop of gold trim here or there, which is not really done, but he seems to do what he wants. So he makes his way down as people begin lining up. Is there any particular order any of you want to try to be earlier on in this, later, middle?
I think Penelope wants to be last to make a statement.
Okay.
I think earlier for Sybil.
Martha seems to also be trying to go last. But eventually she'll, not Martha, Lady Lena, also trying to go last. She sort of gets in the position near you, looks at you for a moment, and then, you know what? You should be last. I do feel, I should apologize. And not that I can really help it, but this is your debut in a way, yes? This is your first time at a thing like this. And here I am taking all the attention this entire journey. This happens everywhere I go. It's quite all right. You should have a chance to shine yourself, perhaps. Any little bit helps. The last impressions typically is what I would do, but please, after you. Or I should say, you after me. And she'll line up at the other side of you, letting you go at the end.
Penelope nods in her direction and just says, "Thank you."
Okay.
Never mind.
Seems Martha is intent on going first, unless anyone would try to do anything about that. Okay.
Nope. Lavinia is still riding the salad syrup wave, and she's feeling better every minute. And she does not even know if she's gonna get to go to a big party like this ever again. So she's just having fun, living,
Okay.
doesn't care when she goes, is just having a good time.
I'd probably be in line, like next to Lavinia, just on one side or the other. Mostly just making quiet commentary about whoever he's dancing with before them to her.
Yeah.
Enjoying the people watching.
As he starts with Martha, they have a dance, and she seems to be quite charming. He seems to be smiling most of the time. She does a little more talking than you would think is normal. You normally see her the type. While she talks a lot, she very much tries to play the damsel around certain men and lets them take control. But she seems to have a lot to say as she says it. And you can see at more than a few occasions that both of them glance over towards different women in the line that she's clearly informing him about. All in all, seems to go quite well. He seems quite amused by their little dance before moving on, dancing with another person. And while this is happening and as Martha's heading out of the line, pauses just for a moment. Vinny, how are you feeling?
Oh, thank you for asking. I feel marvelous. How are you feeling?
Marvelous is a good word to use. Are you still interested in this? I saw Mr. Blackburn at your room.
Mr. Blackburn was at my room because he was performing a service for me. like he does for, the entire party.
She looks towards you, Penny. Well, I'm afraid the rumors aren't true. It seems this love potion's a sham. And she continues on her way. Before, he's dancing with the next people. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just
sorry,
shocked.
say something. Eventually making his way towards Sybil would probably be the next out of the group. So take your hand, and he's a very good dancer and begins leading you around. He says, how do you find your stay here?
It's been quite exciting. Beautiful grounds. Everyone has been so accommodating.
I see. Has anyone been less than accommodating? Maybe not even on my side, but any of your company that I should be wary of?
No, I think, truthfully, Lady Martha keeps everyone in such good straits and keeps things quite civil around here. She has a deft hand for that kind of thing, so I was excited to see her here. And just
interesting. She seemed a bit involved to me. Maybe I got the wrong impression.
I wouldn't say she's uninvolved, but I think she's quite good at keeping a handle on these situations, I guess.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, present company included. I understand that an individual here has done you quite an injustice.
How do you mean, sir?
The Foxglove girl. Wasn't she the one who's responsible for how tumultuous your upbringing was? I heard you had quite a rebellious streak that was, well, put to an end by a slip of the tongue by someone who you once considered a friend.
Yes, a long time ago, I think. I was a bit sour about it, if I'm being honest, when I first got here, but I don't know, 10 years is a long time, and maybe
It is. Your uncle seems to have not forgotten, though.
No, I think I was taking after him a bit, holding on to some things, but it might be more useful to, one mistake maybe isn't enough to look so harshly back on the past.
Well said. With that, the dance can continue, unless there's anything else you want to talk about with him.
No, she's not trying to leave too much of an impression, mostly just the talking up comments of Martha and maybe like commenting on not necessarily the physical appearance, but how striking Lady Lina looks in her gown, like commenting on people's clothes and just saying like everything here is so beautiful, and then just like curving that in a little bit.
Okay. The dance is concluded. Penny being the next one. I see. Reaches out, pauses for a second, sniffs the air once. I was told about that, and then begins leading you in a dance.
Lord
is there anything you'd like to get across?
Lord Thornseburg, just thank you so much on my behalf and my family for inviting one of the Foxgloves to this wonderful event.
Of course. I know your family has quite a bit of history, and that you're on the up and up once again, yes?
Oh, yes. The Foxgloves are very industrious and inventive, and we've flourished in the last 10 years.
That's impressive. Even more impressive since the Sherwoods just simply watched, as I understood your family fell on quite hard times.
It can be... if I've learned anything from this experience, it's that society can be complicated. And I bear no ill will to Lavinia or the rest of her family. Now I'm like, I should have said something shitty about Lavinia just to keep him away from her. Oh well. I will say though, the zoo, while lovely, was quite a shocking experience. I fainted in the middle of it, so I suppose I'm lucky to have missed much of the frightfulness.
So I've heard. Surprised you have a weak constitution, given you're peddling quite a potent concoction.
Um, uh, there was just so much happening, but I'm lucky that Lady Martha Yarrow actually tended to me and made sure that I was safe. I didn't know her much before attending your event, and I think I may have made a friend, and such a lovely one.
Oh, that is interesting. That'd be nice. Though, I didn't know you were on such good terms with the Yarrows.
Oh, well, now you do. And I just continue to say really nice things about Martha.
Yeah, I'll say what I've heard is that Lady Sybil's quite taken with the Lord Yarrow.
Oh, I mean, I'm not one to gossip, but what have you heard?
Well, my feelings would be hurt. Everyone was invited here for so I could get to know them better, but apparently they've been getting to know each other quite well.
Oh, wow. My feelings would be hurt too. In your situation.
Right. I mean, I'm sure you know better than most that the Lady Sybil, from what I hear, can be a bit much. But I know you did your part to take care of that. Yes.
Oh, I mean, that was long ago. But yes, Lady Sybil is a lot. So much. Many things. So many words I could use to describe Lady Sybil. And it seems she's disinterested, perhaps. I don't know what she's doing here. She should.
Well, I think she's here to
I
get to know Lord Yarrow better. Who am I to stand in the way of that, right?
Oh, yes. I suppose. Oh, this is such a lovely dance, but I'm starting to feel a bit lightheaded again. I think.
Yeah, no, please excuse me, and I'll cut this short.
And I go and sulk in a corner.
Okay. Lavinia, you'd be the next up. As you just whisked away, and are you feeling all right, ma'am?
Oh, I feel fine, thank you. And I reference Penny, and I go, oh, but you dodged a bullet there. She's been fainting all day. I don't know about her health. Could you imagine having to take a sick wife? It would be terrible for you. Now, that Lady Martha, she is a tender young thing, and so healthy and vibrant and full of life, so friendly, and she's great.
Oh, it's good to hear. She had quite a different opinion on you.
Oh, really? Well, I'm still I'm she's great.
Oh, well, have you been enjoying yourself?
I've been having so much fun. So much fun. The lion escaping from the cage, that was a bit much though. Not something I could really handle. I don't like animals. No. Mm-mm.
No, I heard you were more of the take a stroll in the garden type. I heard you enjoyed my maze.
Yes, that was fun. That was so fun. But I am so daft. I could not find my way out. It took forever. And I mean, luckily, others came along and escorted me out. But I just had no idea what I was doing in there.
Well, so it seems like you're searching for guidance. Perhaps a older, wealthier man to help you. Not in the romantic sense. I just hear that, well, the Earls had quite a time of it here. And since you and his niece have been getting together, well, I've just heard that the drinks have been had, and Sybil is pushing you to help her deal with her stuffy old uncle.
Oh, you think me and the uncle? Yes. Yes.
So it's true. You and the niece are trying to get rid of the Earl.
Wait, what? No, no. I'm sorry. That's nothing like that. No, I'm just trying to have some fun, you know.
Some say you're trying to get in on making sure Sybil gets some inheritance and then she could be your next party favor. But some of the other rumors are saying that Sybil's taking advantage of you, pushing an old lady into doing things that are unbecoming of her.
Did you just call me an old lady?
Oh, no, I do apologize.
Yes,
I meant
you did. No. Oh, no, it's fine. I'm 30.
elder than Sybil, of course.
Yes. Yeah.
So the boat ride over, how was that? How did you find my captain? She's a bit unconventional, but she has a way of growing on you.
Oh, no, she is lovely. I really do admire her skill in steering the boat and, you know, telling the boat where to go. I mean, I know nothing of those matters, but we did hit some rough seas.
Well, I hope all in all it was a pleasant journey for you.
It was wonderful. I got a little seasick, but beyond that, it was absolutely divine.
I'm glad to hear. We'll look at the time, that's us, and they'll move on from your dance.
I walk away proudly.
Okay. After a couple more, eventually we'll get to Lord Lena, or Lady Lena, as she's whisked off right before you, Penelope. And this goes on for quite a while, and they're quite skilled dancers, the pair of them together. There's more than a few glances thrown your way as they go, and a few laughs shared and then hushed. And then a few...
remains unbothered.
Yeah, you stand there stoic, taking it in, as there's a few glances over your shoulder, as and you see her sort of nod in agreement, and him look confused and shrug, as you glance over just a second to see Lord Webb standing a bit too close to you, and
Guy makes my blood pressure go up.
eventually, as their
Unbothered.
dance comes to a conclusion, I'll stop and be like, if you would like to dance with someone else, referring to Lord Webb, by all means.
So, oh my gosh. Penelope, you know, looks at Benjamin and I assume she's probably coming off pretty cold as she says this and like very frustrated, but trying to keep her composure as kindly as possible, and looks at Benjamin and just turns away. Not even a word.
Direct cut.
Like just completely like I think that's all she needed to say to that.
Okay.
And then Benjamin says, Lena, my dear,
Yes.
may I have this dance?
And she'll look, and Lord Thornseburg will say, I believe we could begin the group dancing then. I actually needing a bit of a break. I apologize, Penelope, but perhaps we can have our dance in a moment.
Penelope, of course, very understanding, looks at the Lord and goes, you know, of course, my lord, not absolutely, you know, not a problem. At
Yeah,
your earliest convenience.
thank you. And I'll look towards Lena, who will sort of nod like you dodged the bullet to him, and then you feel your hand taken by her brother. If you're doing group dances, shall we? And before you can even answer, his sister goes, "We shall." And she takes Lord Webb, and they both look at you, and then she looks at Lord Webb like, "Go." Then they begin elegantly twirling on the floor.
I ignoring them, Penelope, I guess goes with Leonard's lead to the floor to dance, since he seemed like he was going to go take her there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think she just looks at him, and I think she really looks at him as a person, maybe not as an enemy for the first time, and like appreciate him as a person and not like an enemy or a threat for the first time in this dance.
He'll look at you and he'll say, "Follow my lead. You seemed quite light on your feet. I'm assuming you're good at this, yes?"
I'd like to think I'm a pretty good dancer, yes. She smiles.
My advice, she will be looking at you the whole time. Don't bother glancing at her. It will drive her crazy.
I had no intention of sparing a glance at your sister.
Her smart's beyond your years. And then he begins leading you. And sure enough, other people kind of start pairing off, dancing. And you can see, sure enough, you can see he catches her eye contact, but you just ignore. And he's a very good dancer. And so are you, as you guys definitely look much more elegant out there than old waddling Lord Webb and Lady Lena.
During the group dance,
yes, other people are starting to pair up. Mm-hmm.
Penny wants to make a point. She's been sulking in the corner, and then she suddenly looks really resolute, and she's going to stomp over to Lord Everett Yarrow and see if he wants to dance with her.
Oh.
Does he know how to dance?
I am well trained.
Excellent. We should dance then.
Let's... I have been called stiff before, but I'm sure your elegance will make up for it. And I'm actually feeling quite light on my feet. That's syrup. Let's go. And he takes you and then quickly brings you to the dance floor. And a lot more energetic than you've seen him before, but not quite elegant. But
I grin and bear it, but also with a smile on her face, just asks, "What are you up to, Lord Yarrow? I'm not one to gossip, but don't think I haven't heard the rumors."
What rumors?
Why, you and Lady Sybil, everyone's talking about it, except me, because I don't gossip.
Lady Sybil. I believe she held my hand earlier, but which was a bit forward, but I don't think she meant anything about it. She was probably scared with everything going on.
Oh, goodness. Well, and again, still with like a giant, like forced smile. If you want any more salad syrup, I recommend you stay away from Lady Sybil. These rumors are unbecoming of her, and you are damaging her reputation. And I will not have it.
Very well.
And I reach into one of my, all my dresses have pockets. I reach into one of my pockets, because this is our fantasy world.
Yes.
And I say, never mind the label. It's part of my secret stash. And I hand him one of my relabeled potions.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else?
Unless Lavinia has someone she wants to dance with, I think Lady Sybil would, one, be trying to avoid Everett Yarrow as much as possible, and two, take a turn about the room with Lavinia to do what they normally do at parties and gossip and take in the people watching. Especially as she was like beaming, walking away from Thornseburg.
Sure.
She would like offer to take a turn.
I would like to maybe, I don't know if this requires a resolve token, but I want to try to dose Martha's drink.
Absolutely. I'll say
With-
you could spend a resolve token. And while Martha is already finding her way to Lord Thornseburg, even though he's going to take a break, you're able to you catch a servant who's bringing 2 glasses just to those two as he spots them going over to take a rest, gets 2 drinks and starts heading them, and you slip a splash of that experimental concoction.
I hope it's a laxative, honestly. So I'm gonna, toss it in.
I would also like to spend a resolve token.
Okay.
It can have other effects as well, but I'd like for it to make her extremely loose-lipped.
Oh.
Okay.
All kinds of loose.
Okay.
Hot.
So yeah, this happens. Drinks are dosed, goes over, and you see them toast to them, and you see her drink the intended glass. As this is happening, our dance-off is starting to wind down as Lady Lena has become so frustrated with Lord Webb. Blaming him, you hear another string of French curses at him as she sort of pulls him off, and it's frustrated and said it was a terrible partner. Let me find a more suitable one. She looks towards Lord Thornseburg and looks at each of you and starts making her way towards him.
Good.
Go
Oh.
ahead.
I think again, not looking towards Leonard's sister, she looks at him and again, even behind her mask, she sincerely says, I did quite enjoy this dance.
That makes 2 of us.
Ooh.
And not just because it really, really made my sister mad. That was a bonus.
I have to say, and she kind of leans in, it was a bonus for me too.
It was a deserved one. And with this is happening, you see as Lord Thornseburg hasn't quite been able to dance with either one of them as something has overcome Martha, and she's quite vocal about Lena pushing in on her. She had the next dance, even though she's already had a dance. And yeah, you see Lena being like, are you feeling okay? You're acting a bit like Lavinia right now. And Martha says, yes, I'm feeling just fine. And I don't know how she's acted. That stupid potion thing didn't even work on her. So that's just her. And you see Lord Thornseburg look, what potion? That one, and she points to Penny, has all sorts of tonics and whatnot. And it's all nonsense. They smell horribly. You smelt it on her, surely. But apparently she'd a love potion, because of course, how could she get someone like yours attention on her own? And I mean, that is the nicest dress I've seen her wear, but you should have seen her other outfits. It would never have worked. She attempted trickery to get you, my lord, and I wouldn't have it. I wanted to protect you, and I made sure to I thought I got rid of everything she had left, so she couldn't use it on me, you, or my brother. She's a poisoner. She's a problem. And that's Sybil, too. You know they're using that to poison her uncle, just because her uncle's trying to protect the reputation that one is going to destroy. You've seen her. And I don't. And at this point, she's just sort of just going off, and I need to sit. I need to sit with this. She begins sitting, and almost on cue, as the Earl steps in, hearing that she's being accused of his niece poisoning him.
I could see the Jeff.
He's trying to waddle without my mic on. So he walks in. Of course, probably hearing some of this commotion, walking towards, his niece, and goes, I'm perfectly fine. No one as such has tried to cause ill of me. And he waddles like a penguin. Like, that's how he walks.
As he waddles and throws, he says that he feels fine. No one's tried ill of him. He waddles sideways and just hits the ground. With this, again, another fainting, everyone looking. This time, Lord Yarrow pulls the vial he was given. He looks towards you and he nods. And he looks at it for a moment and then shakes his head, and he strides right up to him.
Smelling salts.
Pops it open, takes a smell, and gives a little bit to the uncle. And he says, it took a moment where the uncle at first, like, it was out. And then Yarrow says that he's not breathing.
Sybil would be like on the ground, like she doesn't want him dead. She's acting very distressed and panicking and like trying to get him up.
You see as Lord Yarrow feeds him the last little bit, he says that this should complete our deal. And that's when the uncle sort of wakes up.
To me, he says it?
No, he says it to the uncle, kind of underneath his breath. You just barely heard it. With this, the uncle wakes up, feeling fine and feeling, what you've already started to feel a little bit is quite affectionate and understanding towards Sybil.
I don't know what overcame me. Sybil, I feel quite fine, and in fact, I'm very proud of you. And how you've upholded our family name, and how you've come to my aid, regardless of how much I have previously berated you. And I'm proud. Oh.
The affectionate.
She probably panicked pretty bad, and she's confused by the talk of a deal, and she kind of embraces him and just say, what was
with this you can hear
referring to
a bit of a clapping. It's Lord Thornseburg. I think that's enough excitement for the evening. Let's move on to the next phase of our celebration, shall we? I believe, I will help your uncle take care of him. The rest of you dance, enjoy yourselves. Thank you for being part of this little experiment. Is everything to your satisfaction? And he looks over at one of the masked figures who just nods. They sort of gesture and the band starts playing again. And Lord Thornseburg takes his mask off, and you can see he's Mr. Blackbird. So he walks over and kneels. He goes, come on, Earl. We'll get you where you need to be. I'm sure you're feeling better. And sort of lifts the Earl, and is still stumbling, a little light on his feet, and starts heading to his room. And then on the way, Mr. Blackbird just looks over to the masked figure and says, Lord Thornseburg, I believe the selection has been made. And the masked figure nods and steps towards Vidya and removes her masks, and you see the captain.
Wait, what?
I apologize for the dramatics. I am Lady S.T. Thornseburg. And I believe this, I apologize for all the fanfare, but I needed to make sure I can weed out the ladies of society who are a little too rigid. And if you'll have me, I would like to go on many an adventure with you. I needed to make sure I was with someone who wanted nothing to do with a person like the Lord Thornseburg that we spread the rumors about. I don't want someone who's looking for just a rich, handsome person in society. I want something who's unconventional, interesting, and a bit more real. I believe that's you.
I'm trying not to cry. I'm also tearing up.
I'm shook.
Sybil is like locked eyes with her friend and is like nodding like.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Let's dance at least. Yes.
Let's see where this takes us.
We had a good trial run on the way here, so yes. She'll take your hand and begin to dance. And with this, you'd see Lady Lena's furious and goes to get her brother and says, "This is a farce. This is not how you treat people like us. We're getting on the boat and leaving now." And he says, "Have fun. It must be difficult to once again not be picked by a worthy suitor." And she just eyes go wide. And then she goes, slaps him, and he just takes a slap. "Take your tantrum elsewhere, please." She just looks towards Penelope and him and has all sorts of things to say and just, and she storms off. And he just looks for you. "If you would like to continue dancing then, or maybe a drink." She actually stung.
I could get you the drink. I'm sorry, I'm still shook.
He seems too. He's like, "And I went to a turn of events," and he sort of leans into you, and he's still a little bit of that gossipy Frenchman, and but is very much enjoys the dramatics of theatrics, and sort of is talking to you about that as he goes to with you to grab some drinks.
Oh my god. Yes, okay. We happily go get some drinks.
Sybil, as you watch your uncle get led away, Lord Jarl, or Edwin steps up to you. "Would you like to dance?"
No, thank you, sir.
"Oh, no, not with me," and he gestures to Penny.
Oh, yes, I would.
And he gestures, he sort of takes her hand and leads you over to Penny.
Goodness, so much has just happened. I feel like it's been a very, are you okay? Everything with your uncle? Or you must be quite in shock.
Oh, he'll be just fine. I think he'll be better than ever, actually.
What was your deal?
Don't worry about that. And I hope you two will be better than ever as well.
I can't tell you, Lady Sybil, how much it means to me that we seem to have worked out our differences. When we had that falling out, my family had to leave so quickly. I was never able to really make amends, and I've thought about that for 10 years, but my feelings haven't changed. And oh gosh, I'm rambling, and I start rifling through my pockets.
I'll No, go ahead and do your thing.
And I have like my hands enclosed around this little thing, and I'm like, it's just salad syrup, but I thought maybe it could say it better than words. And all the other vials that she worked on were drafts. And this one is like intricate scrolling, lots of little hearts, and a little bottle just says, I love you on it.
She'll take it in your hand to, like, as if we're going to dance with it, and hold it there. And just lean in. I'd love to accept, although I don't have any pockets. And she kind of slips it into your pocket.
Oh.
And takes you to dance and says, I think we were young, and maybe I held on to my anger a bit too long, and I was angry at everyone, at my family, and at you, and it seems like that might not have been entirely fair. And so I'm willing to start again if you are.
I do. I mean, I am.
All right.
And then with this, you realize during this tender moment, Lord Yarrow was still just looming right there. Well, I'll leave you to it. I apologize for my sister, and it runs in the family. You know, take a curt bow and leave you to.
Kind of forgetting he was there.
Like, it startled me a little bit that he
Yeah,
was
like,
still there.
good evening. Let him take his leave. And as we start dancing, Lady Sybil would just say, well, in for a penny, in for a pound, and then she goes for a kiss.
I accept this kiss.
So, as our scene ends with the real Lord Thornseburg, Effie, and Lavinia dancing, twirling, feeling great on the dance floor. Penelope and Lord Leonard sharing some drinks and some stories and watching all this unfold, talking about the turn of events, and what a debut you had, especially as one such as you rises and someone like his sister has finally fallen. And then our old friends turned enemies, turned lovers out on the dance floor, a little tonic between them, also enjoying their moment. Penny, you think for just a moment, mid-twirl, seeing Lord Yarrow as he goes, you swear for a second you see a swish of a forked tail before you are twirled around again, and he seems perfectly normal. And that is where we'll end our Polite Club story.
Yay!
Oh my god, it gave me everything I wanted. It gave me shock. It gave me gay. I'm here. I'm so happy. I'm speechless. I was screaming the whole time.
That was so fun. We went a little long, but I felt like I didn't want to. I loved all of those moments. I'm like, I can't stop any of them.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was awesome. I loved that. Things came together a little bit that we had planned, and I thought it worked out very well. I had the Effie thing from the beginning. So when session 1, when Finny and Effie had their moment, I'm like, okay, then.
That's such a good twist.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah, me either. Totally not.
That was the whole prospect from the beginning. Was like this captain is sort of wants to see, like, weed out like the prim and proper ladies of society or the mean ones, and starting her own rumors to see who wants this rich, stuffy, mean guy and who doesn't want that, and then choosing from that. So sort of a reverse. So it was really cool. Session 1 having that connection. I was like, okay, this works out well. And then it just worked where like she started with just, I don't know, going down, things were working out for her. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be like a nice little. I loved everyone's
perfect.
endings.
Honestly,
that was
this is
perfect.
perfect.
I love
And
all of you.
Penelope
This
and
was such a
Leonard.
special game. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
so
that was
fun.
awesome.
I'm very happy. Honestly, the whole twist with Leonard and like how that started, I'm like, I'm here for it.
Mhm.
That was unplanned until you told off his sister. Like I always knew like he has a thing against his sister, but I for someone to actually like put it
Yeah.
down, it was like, okay, this is an option. I loved that.
Yes, it was perfect.
And then of course our little Penny and Sybil love story was great too.
It was amazing.
Everything worked out for Penny, which I also sort of like the hint that things worked out a little too well and too nicely
Yes.
because of some interference from some of her family dealings.
Also,
Yeah.
Yikes.
That was awesome. That was super fun. I'm so glad you guys did this with me. If you want to tell the people who you are one more time, where they can find you, stuff you're doing, Shane will kick things off with you.
Hey, I'm Shane Easton, and you can follow me on Twitter at a slight sprite. I'm in a show called Denver by Night. It's a vampire story, and that's it.
Raquel?
I'm Raquel Skellington. You can find me online at Raquel Skellington, Raquel Skelling on Twitter, literally Raquel Skellington everywhere else. I'm currently working on a really cool photo set for a LARP I am working with right now, so you guys can follow me to keep on some more role-playing adventures.
Awesome. Lisa?
I've been Lisa Penrose. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at Lisa Penrose, Lisa spelled with a Y. I'm not sure what I'm able to share at the point of this airing, but there's something that I'll be able to share soon, so you should follow me to find out what that is.
Miss Petty Dreadful?
I'm Miss Petty Dreadful. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Miss Petty Dreadful. I am on this channel you're watching right now in Taste of Youth, our vampire chronicle, which is heating up this season. So check it out. And yeah, that's it.
I'm Bully. I was a facilitator, storyteller, doing our Taste of Youth vampire, also doing some Cults of the Blood Gods with some guests too that Miss Petty Dreadful's in. We've got stuff going on, usually spooky, but this was sweet. I liked this.
I liked it a lot.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you all for playing. This was awesome. I love this little project.
I adored this
That's
game.
it for us. Stay polite. Bye.